Now let's look at the concept of nesting. So nesting can refer to two different things in HTML. One is the fact that you're kind of nesting the content inside of tags, and we can start thinking about elements as nests or bowls or cradles, or in the last video we saw them as folders. We can put something inside of here. So I have, added some dummy text inside of this nest, and this nest could serve as a paragraph. We're surrounding the text with this paragraph tag. In this case, it looks like a nest. And as a side note, when you do web design, you'll see kind of this lorem ipsum. It looks like gibberish. That's called dummy text, and that's kind of just so we can see what text would look like on our page. So instead of writing out all the content, we could use this dummy text to print out, 5 paragraphs of text or a couple lines of text. We can see how the page would look with text inside of it, instead of writing out the content or having a blank page with nothing on it. And you can actually kind of generate this auto text on your own. Just Google lorem ipsum text generator or something. You can get a ton of text. So we saw that, content is nested, it's cradled inside of these tags. I would say the correct term of nesting, though, is the fact that we can include elements inside of other elements. We can nest it inside. We can, put a bowl on top of a bowl on top of a bowl, or we can spoon these guys together. The main point is that elements can go inside of other elements. And there's a big rule to this, and that is the last element that you open is the first element that you should close. So we can see here the kind of this hierarchy that's appearing here. I have a page element. I have a closing page tag right here. Inside of that, I want to make a list, and inside of that, I want to make an item. This will make sense when we start looking at the list item tags and other tags. But right now, we want to make a list item. So we open up the page tag, we create a list element, we create an item element for that list, and then we have our content. Now, since this orange item element was the last thing that we opened, that's the first thing that we have to close. So we close it off. What was the last thing that we opened before our item? That was a list. Now we have to close that off. And then finally, we have the page open. We should probably close that page off too. If things don't go in last element open, first element closed order, things kind of fall apart. You can imagine it as that closing tag is kind of just being dropped off, or it's being lost in this endless ocean of tags that we didn't close properly. We didn't surround them properly. We didn't create the nesting properly. Now, the good thing about text editors, when we start to look at actually making some HTML code, is that they often will close the tags off for us. So we don't really have to even think about it. This won't happen in Notepad or TextEdit, but in the programs that I've been using, such as Adobe Brackets, which is the one I use most prominently, the text will just close themselves off, and then we can enter in our content inside of that. And the nesting never gets disrupted because it's always, automatically generated. We can now see that in terms of nesting, the tags and the elements can be considered as containers or folders or nests or cradles or anything that you put something inside of that surrounds it. The text inside of the tags, or the self-closing tags that we have, such as the image elements or a video element or something, this is the contents. This is what you put inside of the pot. So you put your text inside of the tag. You put your rice inside of the pot. You put your birds inside of the nest. We have now solved humanity's crisis. So we've looked at how to write elements with the opening and closing tags surrounded by brackets. We have looked at nesting and how we can think about nesting. Is nesting surrounding something in a nest format? Or is it just the fact that we can include different elements inside of other elements? I'll let you guys decide. Both are very similar things. Both will help you understand everything you need to understand about web design and HTML. If you need help with that, though, I'm going to recommend a place that we can all go, which is called the Mozilla Developer Network. This is by the guys who made the web browser Firefox. They put together a whole reference section online that we can look at to see all about HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, all the other web technologies that are prominent in web design and web development, we can go to this Mozilla Developer Network and we can, look stuff up. It's a library online. It's awesome. Let's take a look at it. So over here in our Chrome Internet Browser, we want to go to the MDN, the Mozilla Developer Network. We can get there by going to developer.mozilla, let's spell it correctly too, .org. Now, as of roughly August 2014, this is what the MDN looks like. This might change depending on the time frame that you're viewing this tutorial. As of right now, though, we want to look at the web platforms area. You can see down here that there's web APIs, HTML and HTML5, CSS, CSS3, JavaScript, and more. So let's go up here. We'll go to HTML. I like MDN because it's neat, it's organized, and it's clean. So we can get an introduction to HTML, we can get a guide on how to use HTML, and then a reference, which is we can look up different elements and different attributes and see how they operate inside of an HTML document. We can then, jump ahead to cascading style sheets. What the DOM is, the document object model, we are creating that every time we make a web page. We're creating a DOM. So on this page, let's look at introduction. Oh, it's in need of a technical review. That's okay though. This is kind of saying the same things that I've been saying in the last two videos. What is HTML? It gives us a history too, which is awesome. How's it used? How things work? This covers nesting, elements as building blocks, tags, attributes. We haven't talked about attributes yet. We'll get there. It's kind of cool. All this stuff that we need to get started. It's all in here on the Mozilla Developer Network. Now, this class was a little bit late. I think it was 2 days late. Let's just say our next class will be kind of on August 4th. So that's kind of a week away. And the next class will be about the fundamental concepts of web design that we haven't talked about yet. We haven't looked at the other technologies. We haven't even talked about the other technologies. So the next class, I'm going to talk about the 3 layers of web design. We'll learn what those are. The 3 technologies of web design. We'll learn what those are. We're going to learn, I think, what comments are and writing HTML so other humans can actually look at it and understand it. And I'll see you guys next week. Have a good week. Go outside. Enjoy the outside. Have a lemonade. Don't have a lemonade. Just live your